Meron na naman tayong bagong project. Ano na naman yan? O ito. Itong bago natin project. Meron niyang mic. Merong 555 IC. Timer. LED at mga pyesa. Anong gamit niyan? Ito. Lagyan natin ng 9 volt supply. Magmamagic ako. Oh. Nakita mo yun, umilaw. Oh, magic yun. Pag nag-clap ako, umiilaw yung LED. Tinanggal ko yung supply. Oh, isa pa ha. Diba? Yan ang aking bagong magic. Napakasimple na naman ang magic mo yan. This is now the circuit diagram or the schematic diagram of our project. Clock switch using 555 timer, and then this is the block diagram. What is the use of this block diagram? To simplify the operation of the circuit, how the circuit works. So in our block diagram, we have the power, which is the 9 volts, and then we have this first block. This is a mic circuit, and into our schematic diagram, this is the mic circuit. It composed of 10K resistor with the mic. Mic has a polarity, microphone, electric microphone. What is the use of this 10K? To connect power to the microphone, we need a 10K resistor, so that we have this microphone circuit 10K connected to the 9 volts, so as to produce power or to power this microphone, because this type of microphone is a condenser type. We need the power of 9 volts. And the current flows into the 10K and into the mic. That will powering on this mic. So that is the first block. And we have this capacitor, 47 microfarad, 25 volts. Electrolytic capacitor. What is the function of this capacitor? This is to isolate the DC to AC signal. Why is it there is a DC analog signal and a DC signal and the AC signal? Because the mic produces whenever it captures a sound, or just like a clap, it produces an analog signal. Because of the mic, it produces a DC analog signal. Okay, alternating signal. And to isolate this analog to the DC biasing, or we call this a DC biasing of the circuit, we need to use a capacitor. So only the analog signal will pass through the capacitor. And we have now this type of circuit. composed of a transistor 2N2222 BJT with a collector resistor of 1K. To the base, we have the 1 mega ohms connected to the power, and emitter is grounded. What is the use of this circuit? R4, R5, Q1, the transistor and the 2 resistor. This is the preamp. That's the next block. Preamp, amplifier, preamplification. It amplifies the waveform or the analog signal produced by the mic. Due to the vibration of the diaphragm and the plates, it produces a sound whenever the mic captures a clap or clap sound, any sound. The analog signal travels into the capacitor, and the DC signal from this 10K will be blocked by this capacitor. So capacitor blocks the DC signal and passes analog signal produced by the mic. This circuit, which is the preamp, it has a biasing resistor of 1 mega ohms. What do I mean by biasing? A biasing is to switch on the transistor. To function the transistor, to make the transistor to work, we need a biasing circuit, which is the resistor and then the collector, coupling resistor, so that it will make this transistor to turn on, to switch on. What region? It is in active region, or in act as amplifier, since it is a amplifier. So this is small signal from the mic travels into the capacitor and serve as a triggering signal to the base of this transistor. Since this transistor is already on, always on, because of the biasing, it will help to trigger again the base. This small signal will be converted into a larger signal, analog signal, to be used as a trigger current to the pin number 2 of our 555 IC. So this capacitor will help to block DC, which is the biasing of the transistor or the switching of the transistor. Blocks the DC, but it passes the AC waveform or the analog waveform produced by the mic. This capacitor helps to block the DC and will not affect the biasing of the transistor, the operation transistor. So only the waveform, the AC or the alternating analog waveform produced by the mic is going to pass through the capacitor and will trigger the pin number 2, which is a triggering a trigger pin by the 555. So we are now in the 555 monostable block. This whole circuit is a monostable. It is a one-shot multi-vibrator. What do I mean by monostable? Let us now come to the operation of this 555 timer. So 555 timer, pin number 1, ground. Pin number 2, trigger pin. Pin number 3, output LED, the output side. Pin number 4 is the reset, connected to the 9 volts not to reset the circuit and the supply. Pin number 8. Pin number 7 is the discharge. Pin number 6 is the threshold pin, Connected is the 100K resistor connected to the pin number 7 and 8, interconnected 7 and 6, and then the capacitor connected to the R6 and to the 7, 8. This capacitor is 10 microfarad, 25 volts, and we have this power LED to know that the circuit is on. When the trigger pin, okay, when the transistor is not active, it means there's no sound produced by the microphone. It will not trigger the base, so the current flows into the 9 volts, then 1K to the 2, pin number 2. It pulls up this pin number 2 by 9 volts, and the initial state of the capacitor here is discharging. So when the capacitor is discharging, it discharges to the threshold and to the discharge with the help of this resistor. When this capacitor is discharging, the LED is on. Okay? Capacitor discharging, LED is on due to the internal circuitry of the 555. It composed of dual comparator and voltage divider, transistors, and logic gates, and the RS flip-flop. While when there's a triggering analog signal, when there's a triggering analog signal to the base of the transistor, it will pull down due to the negative voltage produced by the analog signal. Pull down the pin number 2. If pin number 2 triggering pin is being pulled down to the ground, the LED turns on. It is on, and the capacitor here is charging. There's no current flows into the pin number 7 and 6. So when the capacitor is charging, LED turns on, and pin number 2 is pulled down to the ground. Again, due to the internal circuitry of the 555. And the time that the capacitor now is discharging through the threshold into the discharge pin with the help of this R6 for the discharging, and this pin number 2 is pulled up by the 1K resistor. Again, the LED turns off. The amount with which the LED, the duration wherein the LED is on, is because of the discharging of the capacitor and the value of the 100K. The amount duration with which the LED is on, it is on, depends on the value of this R6 and C2. So when it is discharging, LED on, and it pulls up to the 9 volts, and then charging, LED off, and then it pulls down to the ground, this trigger pin.